Hello good day viewers, welcome back once again. Today we have to solve for the value of x plus y given that x squared minus y squared equals 9 and the product of x and y equals 1. I will confess this problem is really interesting and is a little bit difficult. But in this solution, I'll be showing you guys the trick and how I was able to solve this problem. Now, we're going to start with a substitution. So we're going to let x squared equals m. And we're going to let y squared equals n. Now from here, to solve for x, we're going to take root of both sides, and here we get x equals plus or minus square root of m. Here to solve for y will be equal to plus or minus square root of n. Now, the given problem, which is in terms of x and y, we're going to transform it to another similar problem in terms of m and n. And what is that going to mean? Instead of x squared minus y squared, we're going to have m minus n, right? Then this equals 9. You know why? X squared equals m and y squared equals n. Now again, take a look at this place. If the product of x and y is positive, this actually means that when x is positive, y is positive. And when x is negative, y is negative. Since we know that negative times negative will give us positive, right? So here, x times y will be plus or minus root m times plus or minus root n. Remember, plus times plus is plus, minus times minus is plus. So we're going to have root of m multiplied by a root of n, and that will be equal to 1. Okay, now, since we know that when x is positive, y is positive, and when x is negative, y is negative, for this sum right over here, in terms of m and n, that will give us x plus y, so that will give us square root of m plus square root of n. Or, remember, when x is positive, y is positive, right? So here we have when x is positive, y is positive, and when x is negative, that is negative square root of m, then we have plus, y will also be negative square root of n, right? Okay, so we can see we have transformed this equation in terms of x and y into another equations in terms of m and n, right? Okay, now take note of this. From here, we can actually simplify this a little bit. So here we have square root of m plus square root of n, and here we have to remember this plus times minus here is minus, so factor out minus sign. We have square root of m plus square root of n, right? So, but remember this square root of m plus square root of n and negative square root of m plus square root of n is the value for x plus y, which we are asked to find, right? Okay, so now our equations, now we have the equation 1, m minus n, this is equal to 9, and from here root m times root n is same as root of m and n, right? So that is root of m times n, then this is equal to 1. Square both sides, we get m times n is equal to 1, right? Then therefore x plus y, which we are looking for, is going to be equal to plus or minus square root of m plus square root of n. You know why? This is the positive and this is the negative, so we combine them together here, right? Okay, now from equation 1 right over here, from this equation 1 right over here, we have to solve for m plus n, but we need to square both sides of that equation. So this will be squared. So now from the left hand side here, let us make use of this property. A minus b squared is equal to a plus b squared minus 4 times a times b. So the left hand side will become m plus n squared then minus 4 times m times n, and this is equal to 81, right? So from here we have m plus n squared minus m times n is 1, so this will become 4 times 1, which is 4, and this is equal to 81 I mean. So now we're going to add 4 to both sides. We get m plus n squared is equal to 85. So this implies from here that m plus n is equal to plus or minus square root of 85, right? Okay. Now we have the value for m minus n, and we also have the value for m plus n. Now let us set t equals, what should we use? So let's use square root of m plus square root of n. So we're going to find the positive value of t, right? Okay. Now, if t is equal to this, we can equally also set t equals negative square root of m plus square root of n. But what happens when we square both sides? We're going to have the same thing from the right hand side, right? So we can easily just set t equals this. So from here we get t squared is equal to here. Let us make use of this. A plus b squared is equal to a squared plus b squared plus 2 times a times b. So from here, the first term squared will be m, plus the second term squared will be n, then plus 2 times square root of m times square root of n is the same as square root of m times n. So from here, m plus n is plus or minus root of 85, right? So we substitute plus or minus root of 85, then plus, remember, square root of m times n is square root of 1, which is 1, then 2 times 1 will give us 2. So from here we take root of both sides. So here we get t is equal to the square root of, that will be, let's write it as 2 plus or minus square root of 85, right? Okay. So, and this is same as writing it as square root of 2 plus square root of 85, or square root of 2 minus square root of 85, right? Okay, now let us take note of this. We're solving for x plus y. And remember that x plus y in terms of m and n is equal to square root of m plus square root of n, and or negative square root of m plus square root of n, right? Okay. So from here, remember we have these values here. So now we have the square root of m plus square root of n. This is equal to, remember we have plus or minus, right? So for here, square root of m plus square root of n, in terms of this, that will just be square root of 2 plus root of 85, square root of 2 minus root of 85, and we're done with this. Then here, the negative, right? So that will give us negative square root of 2 plus root of 85, and negative square root of 2 minus square root of 85, right? So here we come up with a solution that x plus y is equal to, let's put it like this, plus or minus, right? Then square root of 2 plus square root of 85. And this one right over here is real values, right? And we have for complex values plus or minus square root of 2 minus square root of 85. And here we have the solution. Thank you for watching. Please kindly subscribe to my channel. Also like, comment, and share. Bye bye.